כל השנה הלכות בכל יום מובטח לו שהוא בן העולם הבא. Bezrat Hashem, today is the 6th of the month of Elul, Wednesday, 4th day of the week of Parashat Ki Tetzei. אליהו, בוא שב איתנו קצת. So, מצוות להתקין יתד במחנה. There's a mitzvah, we'll be discussing the mitzvah number 567. We're obligated for our soldiers, when they go to war, each one should have a shovel, and the shovel is used specifically to cover up all the things that come out of them. The number 2, obviously. Mitzvah number 568, we're talking about a prohibition of returning a slave, Evet Kanaani, that ran away from his master. Let's say in Syria, somebody owns a slave, and that slave runs to Eretz Israel. There is a prohibition on the Beit Din to return that slave back to his master in Syria. What happens to him? We'll see in a second. And Bezrat Hashem, the mitzvot are sponsored today. לרפואה שלמה לכל חולי עמו ישראל ובכללם ידידי הקרוב, my dear friend, Hashem should have refuah shlema, and we'll send him the name refuah shlema. He saved my life one time, how much literally speaking.
Let's hear about that.
Yaakov Israel Daniel ben Angela, refuah shlema. He calls me up, he saved my life, and he's crying. Hashem rachem alav. Hashem send him refuah shlema b'mira. And then also my father-in-law, Tzaddik, Yosef Chaim ben Mafrat, and my Chaya bat Leah, and refuah shlema. Anybody else? Ishayahu ben Yosef Ben Zahari. When you're begging, very important, when you beg for Hashem to send mercy to a person, you're never allowed to praise that person in front of Hashem. The Halakha says you're not allowed to say Rabbi, you cannot say Rabbi. You could only say your father, Avi Mori, and that's it. On anybody else, you cannot give reverence. Yes, you could, but I'm saying if you're davening for Rabbi Yeshua Pinto, you're not allowed to say his name, Rabbi Hashem Hashem Refuah Shlema to Rabbi, because that's an oxymoron. Rabbi Yeshua Yosef, yes, that's the halakha. Rabbi Yeshua Yosef ben Zahara. ישעיהו יוסף הלכה. לא יודעים מה ההלכה, מה נעשות? לא ההלכה, לא יודעים. אני אראה לך את זה, אתה רוצה לדעת, yeah? What? Ephraim ben Sarah. Okay? Listen, that's not how we talk. We don't talk, what about the other rabbi? No. You could be bereshit tomorrow. Here's the halakha. Okay, kabar alay. 567. Okay? מצווה להתקין יתד במחנה. להיות לכל אחד בבני החיל יתד תלויה עם כלים מלחמתו. Every soldier has to have part of his backpack or something that's called a shovel, a small little shovel in his hand. It should be always available for him. וכלי אחר שראוי לחפור בו כדי שיחפור בו מקום בארץ, לעשות בו צרכיו בדרך המוכנת לזה. So yesterday we said, what is a soldier in the Jewish nation? A holy soldiers. Ad kadei kach, when they go to battle, they designate, yesterday was the mitzvah 566, to designate a special location where they'll be used for a restroom, outside of the encampment, not inside. And on top of that, every soldier is commanded to have a shovel. What do you need that shovel for? Not to dig a foxhole. The foxhole would help if you had maybe like they have, unfortunately 100 years ago the wars were with gunpowder and all those things. They didn't have a foxhole. In olden days nobody fought like that. Most people fought with what? There were arrows. So arrows, you had a shield, you don't need a foxhole for that. And a sword, right? So the shovel that was used was not to dig a foxhole, obviously. It was not a common thing. So what do you need a shovel for? It's in order to cover up what you relieved for yourself. As we know, the relieving, and the Gemara discusses even a little excrement. A little bit. That's why people are important to wash their private after they make number 2 in the restroom. It's important to have a bidet to wash yourself, and not even baby wipes. I'm not so happy about baby wipes. The whole concept is to have not even one excrement. The halakha is if a person has one excrement on his body, a little drop, a little gram, or even on any part of his clothing, his tefillah it goes straight to Sitra Achra. The whole prayer he prayed, the holiness is utilized, surrounded by the klipa, by the Sitra Achra of the Satan, and he utilizes it for his kochot, for his strength. Okay? Neymar, as it says over there, Okay. ועל זה נאמר, it says in דברים, chapter 23, פסוק י"ד, ויתת יהיה לך על אוזניך, and they should have this shovel, part of his military baggage, פירוש אוזניך כלי הזין. What is all your other weapons that the soldier has, he must have this shovel. ושורש מצווה הזו, לכל עניינה, כמצוות הקודם לה. Obviously, the foundation of this mitzvah is we've learned the previous mitzvah, the holiness and the sanctification of the Jewish nation. וזה הפסוק הועיל ובא לידינו נכתוב עליו המדרש, שסמכו לו זיכרונם לברכה בגימורה. As our says, our sages had hinted to it in Masechta Ketuvot, Mishnah Daf Hey, page 5, first side, שאמרו, למה אצטבעותיו של אדם עשויים כיתדות? The question in the Gemara asks, why are the hands of a person here? You bend it and they become like a shovel. You hear the question? Why? The Gemara says, why are your hands usable? They are built like a shovel. The purpose is for that. כלומר, שהן משופין, שאם ישמע אדם דבר שאינו הגון, ייתן אצבעותיו לתוך אוזנו. שנאמר ויתת יהיה. So why is it like a shovel? Rabbi says, when you're going to hear something that's not kosher, a Jewish soul should not hear, you should cover his ears. That's why they sound that's like a cushion. So you can put it in your ear and close. As it says in the Torah, so there's an allusion in the pasuk, vayatet tihye, vayated, that the hands, your fingers are like shovel, to shove it down your ears and to refrain from hearing for things that are not kosher and not holy for Jewish neshama to hear. Mitzvah number 568. If you noticed over here, many people, I don't know where they come up to, but it sounds like from the chinuch, you're not to scream at other people. Hey, lashon hara, sha. Like those people go around. You are to do what? Put your put your fingers in your ear. Don't listen. You're not obligated to listen. People talk. You're not obligated to listen. But to start shutting down everybody, maybe it's not so. What's his name? Not prevalent or not referred. Yeah, just stay away. To start fighting with people, maybe it's kidai not. Okay. Mitzvah number 568. שלא להחזיר עבד שברח מאדוניו מחוץ לארץ לארץ ישראל. We are prohibited to return a slave that ran away from his master from the outside borders of Eretz Israel to Eretz Israel. What does that mean? שנצטמינו שלא להשיב עבד שברח מאדוניו מחוץ לארץ לארץ ישראל. We are commanded and prohibited from returning a slave that ran away from his Jewish master to Eretz Israel. Remember, what is he doing? Listen to this. Who is this slave? This slave is a half a Jew, right? He has all the rules of a Jewish woman. And now ואפילו אדוניו ישראל לא נשבעהו אליו. Even if his master is Jewish, we are prohibited to return the slave to him חוץ לארץ. אבל נשחרר אותו. However, the Beit Din should give him a ktav of shichrur, give him a contract that he is free. ונכתוב בדמיו חוב על עצמו. And then, what did he do? He is now obligated to pay back to his master his value. So what would they do? They would go to the marketplace, the slave, and they would evaluate him. How much is he worth to buy? $1,000? No problem. Now that he came to Eretz Israel, to the land of Israel, which is holy, and now he owes $1,000 to his master, which obviously he has to pay out while he is employed outside in Eretz Israel. As it says in the Pasuk Devarim, chapter 23, Pasuk 16, Lo tasgir eved el adonav, you're prohibited to return a servant to his master. V'chen hu mevu'ar b'Masechta Gittin, and Masechta Gittin says in page 45, Amud Aleph, שבעבד שברח מחוץ לארץ בארץ ישראל, הכתוב מדבר. Specifically, we are discussing an individual slave who was outside of Israel, and he ran into Eretz Israel. ואמרו שם שהדין בו, שנכתוב שער בדמיו עליו ונכתוב לו גט חירות. We're obligated, the Beit Din is going to give him a shtar, a contract of freedom, and also a contract of debt that he owes to his master. ולא נשבהו לעבודה בשום פנים. We are prohibited completely to send him back to service. Because he entered the valley of purity, what the land of Israel was the purpose of land of Israel. That's the heter today. If anybody asks you, can I move to Eretz Israel? You're going to tell them, no, not so pashut. Not so pashut. Take a look at the Rishonim. Most Rishonim are against it. The Tanaim, Amoraim are also against it. They're telling you out many times. The Torah tells us we are prohibited to go back until Mashiach Tzedkenu. However, the condition is, if you are going there to the land to fulfill, to grow in Kedusha, to go in holiness, to fulfill Mitzvoth of Eretz Israel, then nobody could stop you. Who's going to stop you? Then it sounds like a good thing to do. So to the slave, what did he do? He could have remained outside of Eretz Israel, right, and have all the pleasures of Chutz La'aretz. Over here, we say no. He came to Eretz Israel. Why did he run to Eretz Israel? He wants to escape from his master. Run to Shushan. Run to Egypt. Why is coming to Eretz Israel? Why? Why specifically he went to Eretz Israel? Because he wants to grow holy. He tasted the Kedusha, but he had a problem. He didn't have mitzvot filin. He's a slave. He doesn't have mitzvot of men. So what did he do? He want to run away to Eretz Israel to get more mitzvot. And therefore, that was based in that to him. משושם מצווה, מה שזכרנו שירצה, שרצה לכבוד הארץ, שהבורח לשם ינצל מעבדות. What's the purpose of this mitzvah? HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to give honor to Eretz Israel. The chashivut of the land. That if you ran away from your master and you ran there, now you're going to be saved from slavery. This is the sanctuary, the ultimate sanctuary. You hear? The slave doesn't understand. He is becoming now a slave, right? As they say, a goy. A goy comes to Bidgaya. What do we tell him? Habibi, you crazy? You crazy? You have 7 mitzvot. Go stay with your 7 mitzvot. What do you need 613 on top of your head for? Not just 613. What do you need 310,000 mitzvot? According to Gra, the Begol Vilna, there's every word in the Torah is a mitzvah d'oraita. So what do you need all those mitzvot for? More on your yoke on yourself? But since we see over here that this individual ran away from his master to Eretz Israel, he didn't run to Egypt, he ran here. Why did he run here? Because he wants holiness. So therefore the land is going to give him that opportunity. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to give him that opportunity. And it's through that. Okay? And again, another purpose we're saying here is for the to give merit to the Jewish nation, to give them more ability to do kindness. You again, very famodna. I don't understand. You have a Jewish slave owner, right? And you're running away from your Jewish slave owner to go to Eretz Israel. Something is wrong. Something is nudging you. Something is bothering you. So what's bothering you? You want to become holier. That's why you came here. Yeah, amazing. דיני המצווה מבוארים שם במסכת הגיטין, alright, all the rules are there in מסכת הגיטין, ונוהגת מצווה זו, אפילו בזמן הזה, even in these days, if you ran, let's say you went to Saudi Arabia, and you bought slaves there, בזכרים ונקבות, and you have slaves, שהרול ומוזרים שלא להשיבו אל אדוניו, אחר שהוא בורח אל הארץ הנבחרת. So again, when you go to Israel or to Saudi Arabia today, and you buy slaves, what happens to them slaves? Those slaves have all the halachot we discussed. They're half Jewish. They become immediately half Jewish. I told you, remember that's a question, can a Jew today make a business? Right? All this Florida especially, all this business about Geirut. I asked the Geir, how much you spend? About already $5,000. Spending $5,000 to become a Jew. Spending for lessons, for this, for that. Right? So there's the best business now. Tell us Avarian, some faker, says, you know what, I'm going to own slaves. As soon as they become slaves, they become Jewish, by the way. But there's going to be a problem. What is the problem? What is the problem? The problem is in America, slavehood doesn't work. Even if you buy a slave today in America, it's not halachically a slave. It has to be dina de malchut dina, the allowance in the country. If the country doesn't allow a slave, you could own million slaves, doesn't work. Where you have to live? Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is the only country today that allows slavehood. So Mistama over there it will work. But don't give advice to this Rashaim. who's going to start making money now on this gerim, nebach, in a day they become Jewish. And then they don't know how to read Torah, they don't know how to read Siddur, they don't read nothing, so I don't know what we accomplish. מנוהגת מצווה זו אפילו בזמן הזה, בזכרים ונקבות, שהכל מוזרים שלא להשיבו אל אדוניו, אחר שהוא בורח אל הארץ הנבחרת. We are prohibited to return even today, men and women. We are prohibited to return the slave to their master. ועובר על זה ותפסו, what about the bounty hunter that went ahead and caught him in Eretz Israel? והשיבו אל אדוניו עבד עבר עליו זה. So this bounty hunter catches the slave in Israel and returns him back to Syria to his master. He broke the prohibition. ולפי הדומה שאין בו חייב מלכות. Sounds like there is no lashes. Why? לפי שאין החיוב אלא כשמחזירו לעבדות. Only problem is if the master is going to now utilize him back to be a slave. This that he returned him to his master. He didn't say he's going to be a slave. I didn't return him to be a slave. He could say, I return him to his master because he belongs to him. Maybe he'll sell him, right? But so why doesn't he get lashes? Because the master is really breaking the halacha, breaking the avirah. What's the avirah? Making him back to him slave. Right now, the master will say, okay, you owe me $1,000, you're free. Let's say the bounty hunter caught this guy in Israel, right? And brought him back to Syria. So in Syria, this guy, the owner, could say, follow the halacha. What's the halacha? He has to give him a contract of freedom, and he has to sign him a contract that he owes him $1,000. That's it. So the bounty hunter really didn't do the avirah. He did the job. He did his job, but again, he went against Chazal. He did avirah. Even though it's his job, but he did avirah. He's not allowed to return him.
Okay. Well, there's a bounty hunter? Is the bounty hunter Jewish or not?
Yeah, of course Jewish. Bounty hunter, yeah, of course. Talking about Jewish bounty hunter. He breaks the avirah. I mean, this avirah. But we don't lash him because since we don't know if the master is going to make him back into a slave to work for him, to labor for him, so therefore, because we are in doubt, we don't give malkut when there is a doubt. That's the halacha.
100% sure.
You need to make money, make it easily without any headaches. That's the haraba.